How you doing, guys? Welcome to the Nobody Speaks podcast. I'm your host, Antonio Longo, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a solo episode. I know I'm a week behind on the bi-weekly drops, but did have a last-minute cancellation on a guest, and I didn't really want to force anyone else on a quick jump in to do something half-assed. So I just wanted to do one of my solo little episodes where I rant about a few things and just kind of talk a little music and things with you guys, if you don't mind. Um, so this one kind of spawned off from a little debate that was going on a Facebook uh, Cure fan page. So for those of you that don't know by now, I'm a diehard Cure fan. I had a podcast called Fascination Street that those episodes are still up, but I was doing that solely about the Cure. I also am a guest host periodically on the Holy Hour podcast, which is an all Cure biweekly podcast with some great dudes that I adore. So I do that if you ever want to check that out. Um, but there's a lot of Cure talk going on right now because there have been some anniversaries. The Cure Wish album turned 30 years old this year. We did an episode about it on the Holy Hour podcast. You could check that out. And now Pornography also just turned 40 years old. Um, now, Pornography is one of those albums that I feel the fan base is super passionate about. If you want to know kind of more about exactly how I feel about it, please check out that Holy Hour podcast episode on it where we go in depth. Gavin, Chaz, and I really dive deep into it, how we feel about it, how it holds up, yada, yada. Now, where my issue was is somebody made a statement because Pornography birthday and because it's their favorite Cure album. And they said, not for nothing, Disintegration is not the Cure's best album. And I was like, okay, for me, I rank it there. Um, they went on to say, and this is where I kind of felt the need to talk about the topic. They then went on to say that it's not even in their top 5 albums. Now, The Cure has 13 studio albums, as well as multiple other records like Mixed Up and Japanese Whisper, a lot of singles that they put out and things like that. Now, this is where I kind of went a little crazy. And I think the problem is that people can't differentiate the difference between something being the best and what they prefer or their favorite. Now, we all get very passionate about the things that we love and about music, or we wouldn't be doing these podcasts or listening to these podcasts. But you have to be level headed. You have to, if you're going to have arguments with your friends about music, and I don't even like to say arguments, let's say debates, you have to be open minded. Now, I will never knock anybody for what their favorite album by an artist may be, because there are personal attachments to why you like an album. If you listened to the episode where I covered um, the our top 10 favorite Jimmy Eat World songs and our top 5 favorite Jimmy Eat World albums, I dove into this a little bit. Now, most lists that you're going to find in regards to a band like Jimmy Eat World, they're going to say Bleed American is their number one album, but it's more the massive success and crossoverness of the song The Middle, which reached so many different people from so many different genres and introduced people to the band. Now, you know, if you listen to or read or anything with Washed Up Emo, they hold it the best Jimmy Eat World album as Clarity, which most super diehard fans or people that are quote unquote into emo will tell you that that is the best Jimmy Eat World record. For me, Clarity was my favorite for many, many years due to, there's like a lot of personalness to it. But when I really came down to it, what I thought was their best record from beginning to end, from production, songwriting, and sometimes even maybe let's even say artwork all together, Futures ranked it at number one. I can't argue that Bleed American is not their best album due to success of it. It got so many people into it. It's the best selling. So I'm like, not going to argue that. But when you are someone saying that The Cure's Disintegration is not even in their top 5 out of 15, you're just being a dick. I mean, how can you argue facts? You can say it's not even close to being in your top 5 favorite. But when you're making a statement about saying the best and it's not even close to it, that gets a little bit crazy. So I was like, maybe I'm nuts to get bothered by it, but let's back it up with some facts. So I started doing some research. Okay. Pornography by The Cure ranked highest. The highest it ranked in the UK was number 8. In the United States, we'll stick to those two markets because, it's where they're from. And then this is where I'm from. And, musically, those are two huge charts to be on. It was only 133rd. Now, granted, it was earlier in their career, so they hadn't quite, I'd say, broke through here. For me personally, the best thing out of Pornography was the Charlotte Sometime single, which followed after it. Didn't really make the record, but those are just the numbers. Okay. When we go to Disintegration's numbers in the UK, it topped number 3 on the charts, the highest ranking chart hitting for The Cure. They've always kind of missed that number 1. In the US, it ranked 12. Big difference in the rankings there. Disintegration has sold over 4 million records now. It is unarguably, because it's fact, their best selling album in complete record sales. So if you look at that and we break this down, it's sold more albums than Pornography. Now, Pornography has been out longer, so it had more years to catch up on those record sales, but it did not. So that's a hard thing to argue. So again, you can tell me it's not your favorite, totally fine. With a band that has a great discography that I love, I'm never gonna, like I said, shy away and tell you you shouldn't love that record. But to say that it's not in the top 5 out of 13 when you've got facts like this is just really hard to comprehend. How anyone could even say that. So let's even jump off of The Cure here. And we're going to stick with this, your favorite versus the best. Let's talk about Nirvana. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to jump back again. There's one other stat I want to give you on the Disintegration thing. I went and Googled Cure albums ranked in order. I went to the first 10. Out of the first 10, the number 1 Cure album 7 times was listed as Disintegration. 1 time, Head on the Door, which is my boy Sam Hoyos of the Red River podcast's favorite Cure album. Faith ranked number one once, and Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me once. So out of 10, Pornography wasn't up there. I think the highest it reached on those was 2 on a couple of the lists, 3 on a couple of lists, and 4 on a couple of the lists. So again, we're talking about the masses. I didn't just go to Google and read one person's list. I was like, I'm going to go through 10 lists. 75% of them said Disintegration. So again, call me crazy. But let's talk about Nirvana. I did the same thing and I looked up top Nirvana albums. Granted, it's not as big of a collection of music, unfortunately. But Nevermind, 4 out of 5 times was listed as the number one. In Utero was listed number one on one of the other lists. Now, my favorite Cure album, rewind. Now, my favorite Nirvana album is actually Incesticide, which did not rank number one on any of those lists. Quite frankly, it was very low on most of them. I get that, it also has covers on it, but then again, there was also covers on the Unplugged album, which people had ranked pretty high, like 2 or 3. I'm never, ever going to tell you that Nevermind is not the best Nirvana album, because I would just, it would sound stupid. I can make the argument for In Utero and understand that. But again, still, when you're going to talk album sales, influence, recognizable. I mean, you could take the word Nirvana off the cover of the Nevermind album and show it to somebody. You could show it to 20 people on the street and they're probably going to know what album it is. So again, difference between favorite album and best. So I wouldn't really put on the boxing gloves to fight that. So again, I'm not looking to fight anybody on what is what. I'm just trying to shed some light, as we are people that are super into music and passionate about it. That when we post certain things, like if I'm posting on my personal page and I'm like, this album sucks, cool. If I'm saying this is my favorite album, okay, it's my page, I've got my opinion. But if you're purposely going into a Cure fan page and shitting on the critically acclaimed best album of a band and saying it's not even in the top 5, you're looking to fight. You're looking to argue. You're looking to be a dick. You have issues. Someone's not paying attention to you. I don't know whether it's your significant other, your parents, whatnot, but you got issues. It's insane to think that you're going to drop something like that and it's going to be fine. I mean, I could even do a test. I could go right now if I want to go on a Nirvana fan page and I'm going to put Nevermind is definitely not the best album. Incesticide is, Nevermind is not even in the top 3. I would get hammered. I don't think I'd get one person that would probably agree with me, aside from another person that's the kind of person that likes to fight and argue with people, because that's what you're doing. So it's, again, let's have discussions, let's not fight. It's, hey man, I prefer my coffee black with sugar. So if you're gonna drink it like with half and half and sweet and low, I'm not gonna not have you over for dinner or be your friend anymore. There are healthy discussions and then there's straight arguments. People are looking for straight arguments when they're saying stuff like that. I mean, even in a list I read of greatest albums of all time, period, any genre, Disintegration was ranked 34th. So to even, to be a band that big and have your ranking in the in the higher part of 500 greatest albums of all time, you're in the top 50, but Joe Schmo in his mother's basement is trying to say it's not even their fifth best album. Come on, dude. What is the matter with you? I mean, these are fun things to do. These are, I mean, I get it. Recently was just on the Red River podcast where we went over the first two Weezer albums, the Blue Album and Pinkerton. Personally, Pinkerton is my favorite Weezer album. But to argue how perfect and great of an album the Blue Album is, and to say it's not the best Weezer record, I wouldn't really go out and say it. I mean, even from a production standpoint, being a musician, the production on the Blue Album is phenomenal for a first record, and it definitely takes a little bit of a step back in Pinkerton, and you can hear more about that on the Red River podcast where we do a deep dive, and we discussed track by track because there's 10 banging songs on both those albums, which one up against which one and why we like it best and whatnot. Very fun episode, so definitely go check that out. And that's what this little episode is here. Right now I'm just kind of talking about that stuff right now, like fun battles between music and just kind of keeping you guys up to date musically on what's going on. I'd also like to just kind of go over some new stuff that's out recently, what I've been listening to. I'm going to give a shout out to past guest Chris Enriquez of Light Tower. When we spoke and that episode came out, he only had the single. The EP is now fully out. You can check that out on Spotify and all streaming services. You can do that right now. Also, came across a new band that I'm super into called Kareen. They are a post-punk band hailing from Philadelphia. They're a duo. Definitely check them out. Looks like they're going to be announcing some tour dates soon. I love discovering new music. I came across those cats when I was listening to House of Harm. Another one of my newer favorite bands. They're from Boston. Please check them out if you have not. I got to see them in Manhattan last week, and they will actually be playing St. Vitus in Brooklyn May 23rd with Soft Kill and Catherine Moan. But I was listening to them, and then Kareen popped on, and I was like, oh, check this out. And then shortly after that, Jason Corbett of the band Actors, who was on the first episode of this podcast, I'm involved in a Facebook page called The Academy, which is like, fans of theirs that the band is also on, and they interact with the fans on, which is super fucking cool. One of the people on there was also posting about Korean right after I had kind of discovered them on my own, and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is great. So that's not necessarily a new band, because I think the album I listened to first was from 2018, and then my better half, Melissa, I sent it to her. She loved it and ordered it right on their Bandcamp. So if you are a Bandcamp user and you'd like to check them out, go check them out on there. Maybe wait till Bandcamp Friday and then drop it and pick up that record, which would be in your ears' best interests. Also, speaking of, let's go. I'm logging out to my Bandcamp right now so I can get all the information correct. Also, speaking of Actors, some new things that are popping up now. If you are a fan and become a fan, maybe from listening to the podcast, which if that's the case, super awesome, because I love spreading the music. They have a pre-order going on in their Bandcamp right now, where you can order on this amazing looking hot pink kind of splattery vinyl, Reanimated. Okay, so This is dun, 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 dun. I'm going to read it right off of their Bandcamp. Reanimated, remastered, and pressed on hot pink vinyl. It's the first pressing edition that contains the entire Reanimated EP, mastered directly for vinyl, as well as some of the PTL, which is post traumatic love remixes. You will get, I think you'll also get a digital download of it, which is awesome. This is something that the band has not had pressed on vinyl for a while. You're going to get it on a 12-inch, even though it's an EP, because you're going to get the extra remixes on the other side, which is awesome. They're also doing a deluxe order where you can order that, and you can get the band Leathers, their new single, on a flexi hot pink vinyl, which is sick. Now, if you have not heard Leathers, you should absolutely check them out as well. It is Shannon of the band Actors. It is her other band. They just released a new single that you can check out on all streaming services today, called Runaway. That song has definitely been spinning in my ears a lot as of late. So go check that out. And for those of you that are maybe into singer-songwriters, a little bit of different music. I don't shit on any music. I'm a fucking music lover. There is a singer-songwriter who's a little more kind of country Johnny Cash-ish from Ohio named Arlo McKinley. Today is Saturday. As I'm recording this episode will probably be out tonight or tomorrow, on Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all your mothers. So I know it's a little short notice, but he will be playing Mercury Lounge in Manhattan this Monday. So you can check him out on Monday, and also on Saturday, the 14th of May. So it looks like he's hitting Mercury Lounge on Monday night, playing the later show at 9 p.m. And then he will be doing another show on Saturday, the 14th, when he's swinging back around for his tour. So those are just some things that if you are in New York City, you can check out Mercury Lounge or St. Vitus. Head on over to Light Tower, Leathers, Actors, Soft Kill, House of Harm, Kareen. Go to their Spotify's, give them a listen, give a follow, check it out. Let's keep just supporting independent music. I think it's super important. Right now, people are going through a lot of shit, and music is definitely an amazing medicine. So have healthy arguments or debates with your friends. Don't be a dick. Feel free to hit me up and send any new music that you're coming across that maybe we can talk about and feature on the podcast. Always looking for new guests, new people to talk with, new music to listen to. If you are an artist, a business owner, and maybe you make films or videos, reach out. Let's talk. This is what we're doing here. This is what I love to do. So thank you guys for listening to my little rant and rave on people that just can't put aside their personal likes when they're really discussing a band. So just understand that there is a difference between your favorite and what may or may not be like the best. I mean, there are some albums that later in life either grew on me or I didn't discover till later, and there's some that you kind of grow out of. Sometimes you gotta, when you're trying to be objective about music, you gotta sometimes pull your personal out of it when you're talking to other people in regards to it. We all have the right to our own opinion. We can all be dicks sometimes about it, but let's just share music and have some fun. Thanks for hanging out. Please like, subscribe, share, all that fun jazz. Feel free to reach out. Nobody speaks pod at gmail.com for any inquiries. Also, Nobody Speaks Pod on Instagram and Twitter. I'm not too always up on the Twitter thing. Maybe now I'll try because maybe I can win a free ride to space with Elon Musk. Who the fuck knows? As I drink some more of my coffee out of my awesome Nightmare on Fascination Street mug, which is a little mashup of one of my favorite horror movies mixed with my favorite band, which is pretty rad. Stay gold, be good. Hopefully we will all be seeing each other at more shows and whatnot, and the world can continue to move in a little bit of happy harmony. So let's share good music, let's share positive vibes, and be good. Peace. Can we just talk?